Welcome back to Inside Sources. We have a very special guest. He's a journalist like myself, also a lawyer, political scientist, environmentalist. He's been Commissioner for Environment in Lagos in 3 administrations, starting from when the president was governor. He was also commissioner under Governor Fashola and Governor Sanwo-Olu. And then he became the secretary to the state government under Governor Hambode. He's currently the chairman of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. I'd like to welcome to Inside Sources, Mr. Tuji Bello.
Thank you very much. It's nice being here. Thank you very much.
Very well, very well. So you've been in the news,
Yes.
this week with this idea of trying to deal with what is clearly exorbitant pricing, because of the inflation and other things. So I wanted to ask you that meeting that you had with the stakeholders, who were the people in the meeting and how did it go? What actually happened at the meeting?
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate for being invited. Yeah. Basically, we have to first of all understand the role of the FCCPC. Our primary task is first to promote and maintain competitive markets in Nigeria.
Right.
And also to help sustain economic efficiency. And then ensure that you maintain that there's no restrictive prices here and there in the market or in the trade transactions that people do.
Right.
So basically, and if you see that as our mission, we feel that our mission is to help ensure that there is fair competition amongst traders, so that the consumers, basically the interest of the commission is to protect the interest of consumer in the long run, so that they are not cheated, they are not unfairly exploited one way or the other. So based on that, we now look around, we did a survey around the country, and we found that in several markets, you have a group of people who come to the market and then trying to stop, trying to restrict the way people buy things or even trade. Even amongst themselves, there are people who come around and so on and so buy products from the market and ensure that maybe there's a bit of scarcity in the meantime.
So are they an association or?
Sometimes at the level of association, sometimes at the level of group of people or individuals and so on. So there's a collusion somewhere we found out. So we feel that. And
this was across the country, I'm sorry.
Across the country, based on our survey, Lagos, Kano, Kaduna, Port Harcourt, Onitsha, Ibadan, Osogbo, several places we've been to. We did a survey and it took us time to do this. So based on that, we now felt, look, we have a law that empowers us to stop these practices and so on. And with very, very stern measures on it. Either if you are found to be guilty of any of these practices and so on, you could be fined up to 10 million naira, Section 107 of the FCCPC Act, or you could go to jail for 3 months. We now felt, okay, there is no need to start applying the hard power now. Let us call the traders, the manufacturers, the middlemen, and so on. Let us call them to stakeholder meetings and so on. So, and let us engage them, let us discuss. But we know things are very difficult. We have inflation in the country and so on. That was the basis of that stakeholders meeting. And at that stakeholders meeting, we tried to let them know, based on our investigations, these are some of the things we discovered in your markets. So please work out. We need to engage ourselves because we don't want to start breathing down your neck and start applying law and so on and so forth. So we engage one another and so on, and we give them the facts that we needed to stop all these acts. First of all, we are not a price control organization. We cannot control prices. But our own is also ensure there's fairness. We are not stopping traders from making profits. We cannot do that. If you want to promote free markets, you cannot do that. So, but we are ensuring that. But we are not against profit. We are against profiteering, but we are not against people making profits. So, and that was the essence of calling that stakeholders meeting. So I can ensure fairness to Nigerian consumers. They are suffering a lot and so on. We need, and as a government organization, we must be able to come in the middle to be able to see how we can manage the situation.
And it's very, very timely because, of course, like we all know, there's a lot of difficulty, hardship, in the country, occasioned by some of the policies that had to be taken. And in reading that your report, I saw that you actually made an example of a particular product. I think it's called Ninja,
Yes.
a fruit blender.
Yes.
That was
sold for $89 in US.
For $89, but that is on sale in Nigeria for almost ₦1 million.
In fact, the interesting thing about that investigation was that when a week before, when we went to investigate, it was about 750,000. A week after, it became around 44,000 naira. And that was a product that was sold in the United States for $89, and it was brought to Nigeria. So let's even say, if you look at the current exchange rate, that will come to around 140,000 naira. We are even saying, okay, let's even say you put it at 250,000 naira. Nobody will even mind. So we are trying to hedge against inflation. But to put it at almost 1 million naira, that's exploitative.
So what in your meeting with the stakeholders, the Traders Association, and the other people that you met, what was the explanation for that kind of behavior? Because clearly, Mr. Bello, part of the concern that we have, and this is my view, is that of course, yes, there are very tough decisions that government has had to take. We could even say that, oh, maybe why did you do this on the part of government? But it seems that people also have a responsibility among ourselves to ensure that we don't take advantage of each other. That's why I wanted to know. So what did they say to you when you raised that kind of an example?
Oh, when we asked them, I said, everybody will try to defend themselves. So we now ask them, and some of them were complaining about the bad roads, they were complaining about current inflationary trend, and some of them were complaining about insecurity and so on. And I said, come, let us look at it. As of last year, we have had bad roads in Nigeria in the last 15 years or so. And we thank God for the lot of improvement that was done last time, and also the present administration is also working a lot to improve some of the roads and so on. We have had insecurity the last almost 15, also over 15 years now too, as well. Nobody has really complained about that. As of last year, when there was still a bit of prices were still a bit low.
Right.
We didn't hear about insecurity, and so people are not complaining that there was insecurity and so on. So because of the present inflationary trend, people are now beginning to abuse the situation. And we felt that no, you cannot be. We know the government is making serious efforts to improve on our conditions. Even recently, the government has even further lifted duties on some of the imports, particularly on food and drugs generally. So, and sooner or later, some of these things will come in and so on. But if you don't move in and stop people from engaging in these bad practices, you might have a situation that even despite the relief that the government is trying to provide, many of them may not even change.
Right.
They might even continue to manipulate the situation and so on. So we are trying to guard against that and let them know and so on. So we told them that some of the problems you have, they've been with us for some time. And nobody would ever complain about that 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It's just now. You're now talking about, okay, security is causing this, inflation. So nobody can give that kind of excuse at this moment. Those are the things that we told them.
So do you get a sense that they are going to make changes? What's kind of sense that you got in that meeting?
Well, we sent the message. We will continue to engage them, and that was why we gave timelines. Okay, we don't want to apply the law now. Let us engage one another. We are not against anybody making profits, but profiteering is a dangerous thing for our system. And if we don't curb it now, if you don't talk to one another and so on, it might just continue. At the end of the day, people might not have the necessary leave they require.
And with the current level of hardship in the country,
yes,
it will seem to be quite a very commendable move. But my concern now is that so you've raised the expectation of Nigerians.
Yes.
The media actually played it very big because it's something that touches almost everybody.
Yes.
Not only the people that are poor, even people that are not considered poor. They say there's been a reduction to their disposable income. But my question is that, so are you sure, Mr. Bello, that this is not just going to raise the expectation of people and then everything becomes business as usual? What's your plan, to see this through?
That was the first stakeholders meeting we held in Abuja.
Right.
Now, we are going to Lagos next week. We'll be going to Kano, we're going to Port Harcourt, we're going to Onitsha, we're going to Osogbo, we're going to Kaduna, we're going to Maduguri, we're going to Makurdi, several places and so on, so that we can, and we're also trying to work with the states, our state liaisons. We have offices across the state.
Okay.
So we are asking them to work with the states,
with the local leaders,
and so on. We've been talking to some of the local government chairmen, because if you look at the constitution, the market is under the jurisdiction of the local governments.
Right. Yeah.
So they have a lot to impact
in terms of the regulation,
regulation and so on. So we have to engage them to as well, so that they can do monitoring as well, and continue to talk to the community leaders and so on. Recently, we must commend Oni of Ife. I was incident recently when he went to market in Ife. They sent a delegation to the market in Ife, and they met some of the middlemen who are trying to bridge the prices here and there and so on. And they were able to, talk to the market leaders and so on. And they were able to find a way to ensure fair prices across the market. Such things we need to do more. We need to carry it further to other places and so on. These are some of the things we are talking about. You don't have to apply the hard power. Right. Sometimes you need to use soft power. So because we know things are very difficult, and so this is only time to start talking about we must sanction you, we must do this and so. Let us talk to one another. So we are looking at that in the next 1 month. Let's see how fair, how far we can go with that, and see how we can ameliorate the situation.
Okay. All right. So if a particular group of traders now remain petulant and they are stubborn, are you going to take them to court? Are you, or you're going to, what are you going to close the market? I want an idea, of
our law is very clear. If you look at FCCPC Act of 2018, very, very, very clear. If you look at from section 107 to section 113 of the Acts, they listed a lot of a series of punishments. Whether you can be convicted after trial, you can be fined. They are heavy fines. It's not just a fine of 5,000 naira or something. Sometimes you don't need to millions of naira. We can close markets. We can do also. So we are empowered already. So we just feel that there's no need to start applying
and I understand that. My question to you is that, because knowing the nature of some people, there are those who are going to, still dare you. Are you prepared to close markets? Are you prepared to take them to court? I want to have an idea, because people's expectations have been raised.
It's a normal thing. It's a normal thing. We don't need to be told to sanction people. We don't need to be told, because the law is very clear on that. And we need to also we need to let Nigerians know, so they can give us as much information wherever they see things happening and so on. We're moving. Right. So we apply both hard and soft power. So it's not necessarily that, because what we are doing now is to just engage beginning. Let's engage people across the nation to see how we can reach understanding and so on. And provide relief for Nigerians.
So very, very, very important move. And like you said, you're going to be going to other big markets.
So we are going around the country. We call stakeholders in the markets across state. Let's even particularly state A. Right. When we get there, we make sure that all the markets are represented by their leaders and so on. They are in Abuja. The one we did in Abuja, all different interest groups in different markets were invited. Market, even those selling clothes and all over, different interest groups and so on. Even the wholesalers across different levels.
Interesting.
So it's not just one market; it's markets across the state. When we get to a state, we invite all interest groups in different markets across that state. Right. Their leaders will come together. We engage them, and so we listen to their problems. Some of the things we have to give the government feedback too, and say, okay, this is some of the things we found out, and so on. Perhaps government could do this. We need
to help the situation. And that was where I was also going. That it will seem that there will also be a need for a whole government approach.
Yes.
Because I imagine that when we also look at the flip side, some of them, and I think I also read in the reports, there are also issues that some people say that we took a loan, it's 30%, and some of the prices we have to use the replacement cost. So do you also plan to have an whole government approach, especially working on the what they call the environment, the business environment? Because to be fair, they are in fact legitimate.
Yeah, they are.
So if somebody goes to the bank and takes a loan, at 30%, that is something that is already high. But to your point, those things have always been there.
They've always been there.
Yeah. But what my point now is that, are you going to make sure that there is a whole government approach? Because just like you said, there are things that FCCPC may not be able to do. You may have to get people in the Ministry of Industry and then the local state governments
to ensure that there is for instance, I know, the cost of petrol.
Right.
People buy and so also impact on it. Because some of them are even saying the cost of transportation is very high and so on. These are some of the things that we need to give the government of feedback to see how they can ameliorate the situation and so on. So there's also a lot to do on the government side, which we must get back to the government so that they can improve on some of the things we've had from them, some of their feelings and so on. On the issue of loan and in the banks and people, normally, before you go into a trade, you must find a means of how you get your resources to be able to do this. Right. And I feel that maybe in the process in the art of doing that, you may need to appeal to the government. The interest rate is very high, so we are not able to obtain loan as we were doing before and so on. So if there is a way that can be done, the CBN governor can be appealed to and spoken to, so that can be done. These are some of the feedback we will give.
That you get, that you also
we can share with our colleagues in government and let them see the country. Yeah.
Okay. So so the other thing I wanted to ask you is, first of all, I wanted to know, what are your own plans? You just taken office a couple months, and then especially in the area of making Nigerians to be aware, of the existence of this kind of agency that is meant to ensure that there are good competitive rules being enforced, and then to protect consumers. It's a very important and very powerful mandate. But what are you going to do to ensure that the Nigerians, who should benefit from your mandate, are more aware of the existence of the organization, so that it also they can also give you information about what is happening on a regular basis in the market?
Oh yes. One of the things we are doing is also to do a lot of promo. We need to enlighten Nigerians, because we need information. You can't be everywhere and see everywhere. You can't be in Karan and Moda and at the same time you are somewhere in Ekiti. And so you can't. So we need feedback from them to tell us. We need Nigerians. We need those who go into the market and so on to give us feedback and so on. We can't have personnel everywhere in Nigeria. So we must constantly do that. So we need to publicize our activities more. We must. The FCCP has done very well in the past. In different areas. We must commend them for a good work. Where the commission has done very well. But we need to let Nigerians know, particularly the lower rung of the ladder of the markets.
Right.
Because many consumers and ordinary consumers, when they buy pure water, they buy yam, and many of them may not even be aware that there's an FCCPC that's supposed to protect their interests. And so we need to let them know more about it. So if you feel offended one way or the other and so on, you feel that certain things can be done, give us feedback. How do you give that feedback? We have to establish different levels of information sharing at the local government level, at the state level, and at the federal level, so that we can share it and so on. And they also create a platform by which they can express, and then investigation can also be done, and then take necessary action.
Okay, thank you so much. As we begin to wrap up because of our time, you have been a long time associate of the president.
Yes.
You served in his cabinet when he was governor.
Yes.
You were commissioner for environment.
Yes.
I also know that because I've known you for a while too.
Yes.
You're also an associate of Chief M.K. Abiola.
Yes.
So you've been in this game for a long time.
Yeah.
My question to you is that there are a lot of people that are worried that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu that they knew is different from the one that is now president. How do you respond to that? Or have you even picked up yourself?
No. What I know about our president is that is somebody who will always fight for the interests of Nigerians at any given time. Looks like he did excellently well in Lagos. Everybody, and considering what he has contributed to the development of Lagos, it's a very remarkable thing. And expectation is that he will do the same thing in Nigeria. But Nigeria is a different thing entirely. So we should not expect that because it was what you did in Lagos, you should come and do the same thing. First of all, you have to refer federal character in Nigeria when you get to the center. There's something like federal character in Lagos. So that in itself is so that some of the things you have to surmount. You have to consider the interests of different areas. You cannot just come out and say what works here must work here. So it has to be properly studied. And then it came in, inherited gargantuan problems. Problem of infrastructure, problem of petroleum pricing and different things entirely. Insecurity.
Yeah.
These are problems that this cannot be surmounted in 1 year. And then you have the labor issues here and there and there and so. If you ask me, I would say he has done very well. And we need to look at maybe calibrate in some areas and see how we can continue. For instance, he's a listening president. If you say a listening president, he listened to labor. When the labor agitated for increase in labor, he responded.
That's true.
And when people were complaining of high pricing and so on, he quickly went and reduced okay, let us try and import in the short term to try and soften the level. So that shows that you have a listening president who is ready to meet Nigerians at the middle ground.
At the point of their needs.
At the point of their needs. So for me, I think that's the kind of president you need. And I think we're going to see a lot of improvements. Right. We're going to see a lot of improvement as we move on. We just spent 1 year. Only God can perform excellently well. In 1 year, given the amount of problem we've seen, and so we should, and I think people still need to give him a lot of time. In the next 2-3 years, I believe that we'll see a lot of changes as we move on.
Well, I mean, clearly, I also believe that he has laid out quite a number of very useful ideas. My own worry is that the government needs to show a little bit more of empathy and, some kind of austerity measures, because if you are asking the people to tighten their belts and they don't think you are tightening yours, they don't think that you're on the same team. So I think that the president needs to give an impression to Nigerians to know that, look, we're in this together.
Well, I think the government, in a way, for instance, government stop a lot of travelers just to reduce the cost of it. They are reducing costs here and there. I mean, in certain instances. For instance, for people, for ministers, other government, other executives in government and so on, the president stopped that. I mean, he restricted the number of people that can go on the delegation. That for me is fair enough. It shows a government that is concerned and so on. And there are also different areas. The president has also, the way the money was being spent before has totally changed. Yeah. People do just, in the past, people will just get allocation of money and then without even spending, some of them will, you won't see what they've done with the money and so. But now, for you to even spend money, you have to justify it. There are a lot of monitoring, there are monitoring units put in place to checkmate. Right. The way the money was being spent before, you cannot see the money, that kind of money is being spent now. You have to justify it. There has to be proper justification for you to execute. If you execute a road, or to execute certain things and so on, there must be you must follow the proper procedure for doing it. It's not that because your ministry has budgeted 20 billion this year, so in the first quarter they will just give you 5 billion, then you go and spend it without justification. For now, there is a central force trying to ensure that if you are going to spend money on behalf of Nigerians, it has to be properly spent. Right. And that for me is the right way to go. To do it. I'm not going to press you hard because you're not the Minister of Information. But whenever you see the president, please encourage him that he should show more empathy with Nigerians. Let him do more things so that Nigerians will know that they and himself are in the same boat together. Thank you so much, Mr. Tunji Bello, for coming to Inside Sources. Thank you for your services. First as a journalist with the Concord. I remember that when we were in school, we used to say, one day we will write like Tunji Bello. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to Inside Sources. Thank you for your service to the country. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you.